Welcome LIB330 classmates. Team 1, Leslie Allen, Daisha Avery, Shelley DeVries, and Emma Lynn Peacock will present for you our project focusing on the integrative role of trees in man's relationship with nature in the past, present, and future. Each team member has some great information to share with you about the value of our trees and how they integrate into every part of our lives, especially into our health, our environment, and our community. Please excuse Leslie. She has had a bad cold and has no voice. Shelley will be speaking her parts. Trees have been a major force in the development of human civilization with respect to our health, environment, and the communities we live in. From the earliest times, mankind has depended on trees to supply his major needs, plus the contributions that forest products make, such as bark, baskets, dyes, and beeswax. As time progressed and mankind began to advance, population densities have created a dent in nature, affecting the role of trees and forests in our civilizations. Advancements in knowledge, technology, and communication have helped define the value of trees in our environment, and especially in urban settings. Promoting the knowledge of the benefits of trees will help enable mankind to protect this valuable natural resource and promote the development of a silviculture environment throughout the world. Our relationship with nature depends on trees because their integrative role is vitally important and wonderful too.
Okay, today we're going to start off with the health pass. And at the very beginning of human experience, trees were considered scarce and honorable. Oaks were worshipped by the European Druids. Redwoods were a part of the American Indian rituals. Baobabs were a part of the African tribal life. To the Chinese, the ginkgo links were very important, and to the Chileans, monkey puzzles were important. Romans and scholars during the Middle Ages held trees in high esteem in their literature also. Now to the environment past. In the past, people began to plant trees at different development stages to be able to restore the forests. And they made the law of the Forest Act to prevent deforestation and exploitation of the forests. The Forest Act is also known as the Forest Reserve Act of 1891, which allowed sections of land to be set aside to stay as a forest. In 1907, there was an addition to the act to restrict presidents to have less control of the area. Additionally, another law that helps trees is the law of natural protection. The law was made to protect the rare and threatened forests and ecosystem. The Law of Protection Act is also known as the Environmental Protection Act of 1960, depending on what country you're in. For the United States, each state is responsible for their own Department of Environmental Protection. The department has many responsibilities, which consist of global warming, air quality, safety of chemicals, clean up the communities, protection of water, expanding the conversation on the environment, and building strong states. These laws allowed for the trees in our communities to thrive together by replenishing the trees. The ecosystem gradually will restore, and the trees can be used in moderation as they grow strong and valuable. As civilizations developed, trees began to be used for different aspects such as saw logs, wood, homes, etc. Saw logs are a part of the tree that is processed in mills for building. As generations progressed, trees were used often for products, mostly for fuel wood because it was in large demand for cooking and warmth, making baskets, and for creating boats, causing the number of trees to diminish. Also, the commercial value of the wood declined since the quality of the wood was not good, since the trees were very young. When the value of the trees began to decline, people started to realize they needed to manage their use and they needed more trees somehow to produce them. Okay, now the community and unity of the past. There you'll be watching a video, and it's about how the community and trees interact and how it affects each other.
Now about the role of trees with respect to our health. It is not a stretch to believe that without trees, we humans would not exist on this beautiful planet. Trees are essential to life as we know it and are the ground troops making up an environmental front line. Our existing forests and the trees we plant work in tandem to make a better world. It is necessary to harvest trees in a practically planned and sustainable way using the multiple use concept. Let's face it, we could not exist as we do if there were no trees. A mature leafy tree produces as much oxygen in a season as 10 people inhale in a year. What many people don't realize is the forest also acts as a giant filter that cleans the air we breathe. The term phytoremediation is a fancy word for the absorption of dangerous chemicals and other pollutants that have entered the soil. Trees can either store harmful pollutants or actually change the pollutant into less harmful forms. Trees filter sewage and farm chemicals, reduce the effects of animal waste, clean roadside spills, and clean water runoff into streams. Trees muffle urban noise almost as effectively as stone walls. Trees planted at strategic points in a neighborhood or around your house can abate major noises from freeways and airports. Flash flooding can be dramatically reduced by a forest or by planting trees. One Colorado blue spruce, either planted or growing wild, can intercept more than 1,000 gallons of water annually when fully grown. Underground water-holding aquifers are recharged with this slowing down of water runoff. To produce its food, a tree absorbs and locks away carbon dioxide in the wood, roots, and leaves. Carbon dioxide is a global warming suspect. A forest is a carbon storage area, or a sink, that can lock up as much carbon as it produces. This locking up process stores carbon as wood and not as an available greenhouse gas. Trees help cleanse the air by intercepting airborne particles, reducing heat, and absorbing such pollutants as carbon monoxide, sulfur dioxide, and nitrogen dioxide. Trees remove this air pollution by lowering air temperature through respiration and by retaining particulates. Shade resulting in cooling is what a tree is best known for. Shade from trees reduces the need for air conditioning in summer. In winter, trees break the force of winter winds, lowering heating costs. Studies have shown that parts of cities without cooling shade from trees can literally be heat islands with temperatures as much as 12 degrees Fahrenheit higher than surrounding areas. During windy and cold seasons, trees located on the windward side act as windbreaks. A windbreak can lower home heating bills up to 30% and have a significant effect on reducing snowdrifts. A reduction in wind can also reduce the drying effect on soil and vegetation behind the windbreak and help keep precious topsoil in place. Erosion control has always started with tree and grass planting projects. Tree roots bind the soil and their leaves break the force of wind and rain on soil. Trees fight soil erosion, conserve rainwater, and reduce water runoff and sediment deposit after storms. Real estate values increase when trees beautify a property or neighborhood. Trees can increase the property value of your home by 15% or more. We need trees. Why do we need trees? Trees give us that much needed oxygen and sequester carbon dioxide. Biodiversity is the key to health. The strength of a forest or any other ecosystem is measured by its biodiversity. The variety of tree species and ages in a forest determines everything from the types of wildlife it can support to the threats it can withstand. Trees fix nitrates in soil, making it more fertile to grow other plants like vegetables. Urban tree plantings improve citizens' pride of place. Trees provide healthy and beautiful places for children to play and learn. Fruit trees provide nutritious fruit to eat. Take a look at this video clip. Sorry about the advertisement at the beginning, to see how and why controlled burns and thinning of forest is necessary. Just a couple little community stories that in the present time. Mistletoe is a native plant in Australia. It has a bad reputation for killing trees, but Associate Professor David Watson from Charles Sturt University says pretty much all of the public's perceptions about mistletoe are fundamentally incorrect. Mistletoe doesn't kill trees, nor is it poisonous to people or livestock, saying that these are all myths. In fact, his recent research has found mistletoe encourages biodiversity. For 5 years, he and another researcher removed all mistletoe from nearby farms. The results were unexpected. Within 3 years of taking mistletoe away, doing nothing else, just moving the mistletoe plants from the canopy, we lost more than a third of the woodland-dependent bird species. So to do one small habitat manipulation and see such a dramatic and almost immediate effect is very strong evidence and shows that it is not just an indirect effect. Mistletoe really does have a direct positive effect on biodiversity. He also said that local councils usually have a policy of removing mistletoe, but that this is the wrong thing to do because mistletoe has such a positive effect on biodiversity. Little birds like to nest in mistletoe. It also produces incredibly nutritious, rich leaf litter, which would be great to use in the garden. All this is something to think about if you have mistletoe growing in your tree. It's likely that others will tell you that you have to remove it because the myths about this plant have been around for a long time, but its presence shows that there is great biodiversity happening in your spot and that the little birds have somewhere to nest. Here's another story, and watch this video about a group that is doing wonders for our environment in South Africa.
The role of trees regarding our health for the future says a lot of things. In a blog written by Lena Hughes, an EPA Environmental Protection Agency worker shared what the future would hold without trees in regards to our health and the wicked cycle it begins. She shares, "When you come to think about it, a future without trees or vegetation would not only be scary, but deadly for all mankind. Many animals, including human beings, would not survive without any vegetation on Earth. Plants are necessary for multiple reasons. They provide us with oxygen, and they are at the foundation of all food chains. Furthermore, they play a fundamental role in ecology. They cleanse the atmosphere of excessively large quantities of carbon dioxide emissions." Lena shows that in our future, if trees are not here, food chains would all out die, which means we would not have other foods to eat. It's a wicked cycle, and if you stop at one end, it continues down the line and stops. Also, they play a very important role in cleaning out our atmosphere of excessive large quantities of carbon dioxide. Because of how high our pollution is, it's only going to get bigger unless something is done. If nothing is done, our trees will not be able to be there to help us. In regards to our community for our future, I did some looking around, and I found a survey that was done called the Talking Tree Survey. It was conducted by the Morton Arboretum in the community of Chicago. Researchers asked questions on how people feel and what they know about the trees in their environment. Results showed that people know the trees need help, but are not sure how to help them. It was also shown that people know that trees benefit their breathing, but have no knowledge of any of the other key benefits, like the ones we've covered previously in our PowerPoint. These results also express that there is such a lack of education in communities. This means that if we don't educate our generation now, our trees could possibly be completely gone in our communities. It won't be pretty anymore. It won't be able to uphold some of the pollution. It won't be able to keep our breathing from being suffered. A lot of things have to change in order for our future to have everything that they need as to keep us alive and to keep it beautiful. In regards to trees' role in our environment for our future, I found a study that was done in Australia by LaRue, Eichen, Lindenmeyer, Manning, and Gibbons. Facts were presented in a simulation model showing what would happen to the future of hollow-bearing trees if we were to continue current urban tree practices. It was shown that with current practices, 87% of all trees would be gone within 300 years, while worst-case scenarios showed that all trees would be gone in 115 years. Results showed that over a 300-year span using urban practices, the number of trees went from around 5 hectare to 0. That is a big, big difference. It shows on our PowerPoint that there's a picture. This picture is a chart showing in the line current nature preserve practices. This is what happens when you don't touch the trees, you leave them alone in their natural habitat. It's saying that over a 300-year span, we're still going to have our trees in very large amount of hectares. In this picture, it shows about between 10 to 15. The second line, however, is the current urban tree practices that are going on in our cities and our towns right now. It's showing even with different types of treatment and different types of things we can do, it shows that over a 300-year time span, our trees will go from a 5 hectare amount almost down to 0, depending on which practice we follow. This shows we need to do something or our trees will all but disappear.
To conclude our PowerPoint today, we want to finish with this nice little saying that Leslie actually wrote. Trees, the welcoming beauty of outstretched branches, reaching to the sun and tugging at our souls, touch every climate with a unique species all its own. They are sacred and honorable, and we and animals cannot survive without them. Let us not lose touch with our dependence on trees and our mutual coexistence. We need them, the earth needs them, and they sustain us. Unless it is a barren wasteland of dry dirt and rock, our landscapes are dazzled with their beauty through every season. Their roots tunnel their way into Earth's soil so we can have life, health, prosperity, and unity. The roots hold firm the giant redwood and the dainty dogwood, each giving us some gift, whether the means to make a basket, find honey, shade from the sun, or to merely be enchanted on a moonlit evening. The magnificent tree, our partner in nature, defines our existence and keeps our world alive. And this is a great little video just to end with. It's kind of just a cute, funny video, if I can get it to play. And there's our sources.